Yeah, hello. Welcome to another Words with X. And I'm gonna tell y'all some stuff that's very true in this episode. You can't even deny that it's not. It's very true. So I'm gonna let you in on something and hope you hear this one and remember it. Because it has some truth in it. I mean, most of what my Words with X podcast talk about have truth in it. But if you don't listen to any other ones, at least remember this one. We all think negative thoughts. I don't care what you say, we all do. From what can go wrong to I don't look good, etc., etc., etc. The list is huge. Negative thoughts creep into our minds like flies into your home. Can't be stopped. Like you can try all you want, can't be stopped. Can be ignored if you so choose, but hard to do and doesn't always come naturally to do at first. What I've learned over the last few years, though, and hope you hear this, it's so simple, but I've never heard it put like this. When we think negative thoughts, we are letting them rob us of our happiness. Legit. I'll repeat that for you. When we think negative thoughts, we are legit letting it rob us of our happiness. That is so true when you stop and think about it. Think about the last time you felt happy, okay? Think about the last time you felt happy, felt good, all that. What made you go from that to a not so great place? Less than what you were when that good energy, that happiness, and all that was flowing. What happened? I'd bet every dollar in my pocket right now that a negative thought was in there somewhere. And if it wasn't, then I'll give you these $3 I have right now. But I'm serious. I bet the last time you were happy, when you were feeling good, and then something took you from that to a very lower place, not that same happy energy, a negative thought creeped in there somewhere. I bet you did. It's the truth. I bet you it's the truth too. Negative thoughts are never beneficial to us, and yet happen more often than the happiness because they feed off one another and are so rampant and often. But, and again, why I said hope you listen deeply today, know that you are aware that you are doing this. You can combat them. Because, with a little bit of work, of course, negative thoughts can be beaten down like a bad hairdo. They can be controlled, they can be tamed. When those negative thoughts flash up, ask yourself how much of that thought is backed by facts and proof of. That's one way to tame them. A lot of those times, those negative thoughts are fueled by worry with little to no facts backing them, but rather fear is what's backing them. Oh, I'm not looking good today. They won't like me. Oh, I'm not going to pass the test. I'm going to fail. All of those kind of things. You know what I'm saying when I say these? All of those thoughts are fear based and can be combated. How? Well, let's not even go by what physically can be done, but let's look at what can be done mentally to start with. Let's say you think you don't look good. Recall how many times you've been told that you are good looking. Even if that number is a low number, that just means the other people noticed that you were good looking and were too shy to say so. Meaning the toxic thought has no backbone to it. You get what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? Or let's say another one when you're talking about you going to fail a test. Well, let's look at that from what you can do mentally. Mentally, think of what you would need to do to pass that test. You would need to study to feel more comfortable in that test, right? So if you stop and think, if I study more, it might help, which it can't go wrong. It really can't. So that kind of thing can help with that negative thinking. Now let me stop. I'm not saying how to put this. I'm not saying every negative thought is that easy to resolve and whatnot or knock out. I'm just saying that every negative thought usually is from fear, and if you mentally stop and look at it from a different perspective, different way, and a different viewing, you can combat that negative thought. Negative thoughts aren't there to make us happy. They are there to steal it and force us to become stronger and fight against them, starting with what we think and what we want to achieve to make us happy. And I'm pretty confident in saying that nobody wants their happiness stolen from them. I know I don't. I know I don't. That's partially why I'm putting this podcast out there to help you figure out a way that you can get them negative thoughts passed by and all that, combat them, all that. That's why I'm another reason I'm putting this podcast out there. And you know what? Putting this podcast out there makes me. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I had all kinds of negative thoughts about making this podcast because I'm like, am I going to get my point across okay? Am I going to sound okay? Is all the tech going to be right? There was a lot of negative thoughts that came into my mind. But as I mentioned earlier, I thought about it, said, how can I work around it? How can I get to achieve what will make me happy to get this podcast out there? And this is Exhibit A. It's out there. And I really hope you're listening. I really hope you listen deeply to this. So, to wrap it all up, if you will, I'm going to say this. Why keep letting those negative thoughts do just that? Rob us of our happiness. I don't know about you, but I know me. Life is too short. I ain't got time to let something rob me of my happiness that I created with them negative thoughts. Think about it. Really think about it. Well, that's another Words with X for you. Keep that smile smiling. Keep them negative thoughts under your control. At bay, tame them, whip them, do whatever you have to so they don't rob you of your happiness. And remember, as always, words is what keeps us moving.